The Devil's Wife, a very horrifying story. The thing my mother loved most in this world was sitting at the front door of our house with one of the neighbors, watching the passers-by, scrutinizing who was coming and who was going, and discussing what this person was doing or what that one was buying or eating. It was as if it were a hobby she relished. My father tried countless times to stop her, but she was a domineering woman. No force on earth could dissuade her from what she wanted. When she argued with my father, everything would turn upside down. She would hit him, and once she nearly killed him. No one understood how such a woman came into being. They said she was kneaded with the water of demons. Naturally, her constant sitting in front of the house brought us near daily problems. Every day was filled with quarrels and troubles, until we came to hate life itself. After long suffering and endless conflict, my father finally managed to break the doorstep to force her to stay inside the house. We thought then that we had solved the problem at its root, but we were deluded. As soon as my mother stayed indoors, she found no one but us, my sisters and me, to pick fights with over the pettiest things. It was as if she didn't know how to live without shouting and fighting, until the worst day of my life arrived. My brother was about to leave for work. My mother argued with him because he didn't want to leave money at home. When he refused and walked away, she screamed after him at the top of her voice, enraged. "May a car devour you, you wretch!" Only 4 hours passed before I heard a great commotion all over the neighborhood. Then I saw a pile of flesh laid on a wooden board and covered with a damp cloth. They said that was all that remained of my brother after he fell into the cloth truck while it was running, and it shredded him along with the fabric. The sight was enough to drive me insane and into convulsions, especially since the only part that remained intact was his head. Though the whole town gathered to support us, no one could soothe my broken heart over my brother's horrific death. I sank into a deep depression and confusion I didn't emerge from until several sheikhs recited the Quranic healing prayers over me so that I could return to being a normal person. As for my mother, it was as if she had no heart at all. She looked coldly at her son's remains and said, coldly, "He died because he angered me," chillingly. "Whoever angers me dies in this way." My father could bear no more. He left us for good, though he continued to send enough money every month out of pity, knowing we were living with a tyrant. Only a month after my brother's death, my mother cursed my sister for leaving a dish unwashed and said, venomously, "May God burn your blood." Just a week later, I awoke to my sister's screams, twisting in pain as if she were burning in hellfire. When we rushed her to the hospital, we learned the catastrophe. She had developed leukemia. Her treatment was searing chemotherapy sessions that turned her glowing face into a bald, wasted body, pale, lost, groaning 1,000 times every night. Yet my mother didn't pity her for a single moment. She said my sister deserved what had befallen her. That was when I seriously began to consider taking my sister and leaving this house, because I wasn't waiting for another curse to bring my own end. But where could I go? All my aunts and maternal relatives refused to take us in, terrified of my mother, the woman whose reputation had become too vile to bear. People could no longer stand to look her in the face. Nijam Barbaha, mama, 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 mama. My life became nothing but my 6 sisters' cries and my mother's tyranny. Until one night, I woke to strange gasping sounds, as if someone were choking or drowning. At first I thought it was my sister, but when I drew closer to my mother's room, I found her convulsing and struggling to breathe. I rushed to her side. She trembled and repeated only 2 words. "My mother and my son. My mother and my son are coming to take me." I tried to calm her down and understand her words. She told me she had seen herself standing between the grave and the cloth machine that had killed my brother. My brother was pulling her toward the machine to shred her with him, while her own mother was dragging her toward the grave to bury her there. I reassured her that it was just a nightmare, that everything would be fine, God willing. But sadly, it wasn't merely a dream. Just 2 hours later, I awoke to something standing at the foot of my bed. When the shape became clear, I screamed with all my strength. My brother was standing there, his body a mound of torn flesh with only his head intact. The floor around him was awash in blood, and every step he took caused his feet to melt even more. Without a word, he turned and headed straight to my mother's room. I sat frozen, unable even to scream. Only moments later, an awful shriek rose from her room. I ran in and found her pointing in terror to a corner of the room, shaking uncontrollably. I turned on the lights and played Quran recitations through the house. But that night, my mother lost one of her eyes, seeing only with the other. She kept trembling, saying she could see countless shadows moving about. The next night brought the same cries. Then she lost one of her ears and could barely hear. Only 3 days later, she lost the other eye and ear, leaving her blind and deaf. A black spot appeared on her cheek, like a mole that was decaying. I even saw worms emerging from her skin. And it didn't stop there. Her limbs gradually stopped moving until paralysis took over her arm and leg. That was when I knew something was draining her life away, devouring every sign of existence inside her. I called a doctor who could not explain what was happening. Then I brought a sheikh who recited over her, and he told me bluntly, gravely, "Sai, this woman has been cursed for a very long time." Within a week, her entire body was paralyzed. She could no longer see, hear, or move. She lay in bed, vomiting and soiling herself, while worms crawled across every inch of her body. My mother was rotting alive before my eyes, and I didn't know what to do. The room smelled worse than a grave. I had to wear a mask whenever I entered to clean or try to help her. Then came the night she died. I walked in as usual and found her sitting up, her face like a skull, yet speaking with an eerie calm. She told me she used to fight with her own mother daily, insulting her, even beating her. When she grew tired of her senile mother, she began bathing her with freezing water in winter so she would die faster. And indeed, she died. After that, my mother lived on as if nothing had happened. But her mother began appearing to her in dreams, turning her life into hell. She was told that the only solution was to go and pour water over her mother's grave. There, she met a man who said he would live with her, protect her, and grant her great power in exchange for allowing him to accompany her. That man was an infidel jinn. He stayed with her for years, shielding her from her mother's spirit, until he tired of her and decided to leave, but not before inflicting a dreadful punishment. When she cursed her son, the jinn helped make the curse reality. When she cursed her daughter, he did the same. Then he left her to madness and the demons that tormented her. Left her to die in the most horrific way imaginable. She finished telling me all this, and died. She left us only a single message. Disobeying and harming one's parents is a curse that will follow you all your life. Emphatic, whoever does not have mercy for his father and mother will never have mercy for anyone, and he will live hard-hearted until God seizes him with his mighty retribution.